Welcome to KXAN News Today. Here are your Monday morning headlines. Later today, we're going to hear from several groups suing TxDOT over its plans to expand I-35 here in Austin. The group Rethink 35 will hold a press conference today about that lawsuit. TxDOT said it will fight the suit.
There is a public hearing tonight over potential Dripping Springs music venue development. Neighbors are worried about the Fitzhugh concert venue's impact on the environment and traffic. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality hearing is in Dripping Springs at Ranch Park at 7.
Super Bowl 58 is set. Defending champs Kansas City Chiefs will take on the San Francisco 49ers in Vegas on February 11th. The Chiefs beat the Baltimore Ravens 17-10 for the AFC title, and the 49ers rallied to a 34-31 victory over the Detroit Lions in the NFC title game. Did you guys watch the games?
I did.
One of them or all of them?
I watched parts of one. The first game, I was at a child's birthday party, and like all the dads
Yeah.
were sort of like
clustered over the TV. Yeah. I got in a good game and a half, but going to bed at halftime for the 49ers Lions, I thought, okay, they kind of have this, and woke up to a different outcome.
Don't count them out.
Yes.
Don't count them out. Absolutely. Hey, let's get you to your forecast. You made it through the weekend. Yesterday, weather was gorgeous, and I've got some good news. We're going to continue with this really nice weather as we start the new work week. Right now, radar is quiet, not expecting any rain today. Live look from our Lorenz and Lorenz 360 camera out in the West Hills of Austin. Clear skies up top, 44 degrees is where we're currently sitting. You'll notice we're pretty close to freezing out there in Lando. There's potentially that chance we briefly hit 32. In general, though, we're going to stay above freezing in most locations. I'm expecting a lot of us to be bottoming out in those lower 40s this morning before the warm-up kicks in. Kind of a mixed bag as far as the trend goes. Some of us 1 to 2 degrees cooler, others 1 to 2 degrees warmer. I am expecting afternoon highs to just be a touch on the warmer side today compared to the 60s we had yesterday. That leaves us with the 40s through the morning, 60s by noontime. Forecast high today 71 degrees. Coming up in your first warning forecast, we're going to stay with these comfortable temperatures for a while. Much better than what we've been looking at for most of January. Car wash weather too, a string of days of dry weather and a good amount of sun. But a first warning to tell you about that sunshine disappears this weekend. We've got a heavy rain event on the way. More on that coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Kristen. This morning, police are patrolling campuses at Lockhart ISD after school district promises to make changes regarding how parents are notified about any kind of security threat.
This district says that the change comes after 2 threats were made last week. They caused the high school to lock down. And KXAN Sarah Alshay explains that parents are left shaken up by this whole ordeal.
My husband's telling her to stay calm. I'm letting her know I'm on my way. She said, I can't, I'm shaking.
It's a text no parent ever wants to receive.
And just telling her that we love her, and sorry, that's like really hard. She texts, I love y'all too. I was so scared and I was crying.
Thursday afternoon, this parent who wishes to remain anonymous says her daughter texted that Lockhart High School was on lockdown.
She goes on to tell us that she's in a dark room. They're putting bookshelves in front of the door. Her teacher has a glass breaker.
This mom says she immediately left work, speeding down the freeway to get to the school. When she arrived,
they had a few roads barricaded off already. All the parents, they were standing outside their cars. There were so many police officers.
Lockhart ISD says the high school was temporarily locked down for an hour because of a vague text threat that circulated among the student body. The Lockhart Police Department ultimately found it non-credible. Nearby elementary schools were also placed in secure status, meaning operations remained normal, but students and staff stayed inside and no one was allowed in or out of the building. But later that night, the district said it recognized a gap in the notification procedure because nearby elementary school families did not receive direct notification of the school's secure status. That prompted a change. So from now on, all campuses will receive texts, calls, and emails whenever they are placed in any safety response protocol, not just for lockdowns. It's a move this parent agrees with, but she says it's not enough. She says lockdowns seem to be more frequent, and she worries about the overall safety for her daughter.
Every day I'm scared. I drop her off at that school and you can just watch them walk in and you have no idea what's going to happen to them after those doors close, and you just pray that they're going to be safe.
Sarah Alshay, KXAN News.
The district says that Lockhart police patrols began Friday on and around campuses. Additionally, a program made up of parents and community volunteers called the Lion Guard is going to be on campuses in the next couple of weeks.
There's been a safety overhaul across Texas school districts since the massacre that unfolded at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. One of the changes requires the state to test weaknesses at school campuses through intruder detection audits. The first one in the fall of 2022, months after Uvalde, found 95% of Texas schools did not need to make any corrections to its safety strategies.
Another statewide requirement is an armed officer on every campus. This law went into effect last September, but some school districts are really struggling with coming up with the money and the staff to comply with this. In August, Austin ISD said it was going to need a year to meet the state's requirement. The district said every high school has 2 school resource officers. There's 1 at every middle school, and patrol officers oversee elementary schools.
Happening tonight, trustees in Dripping Springs ISD looking to Texas State for help when it comes to educating kids about the dangers of fentanyl. Trustees are taking up an agreement with the university. The $375,000 grant, 5-year grant from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, would involve 1 hour of curriculum once a year for middle and high school students, according to Hays County Sheriff's Office. 5 young people in the county died from fentanyl overdoses. Deaths since January of 2022 to December of 2023. A progress report when it comes to your trees and the leaves after the big freeze that we saw recently.
And President Biden weighing in following the deaths of Americans on the front lines in the Middle East.
President Biden promising the United States is going to hit back after 3 American troops were killed yesterday during a drone strike in northeast Jordan.
The White House says that the deadly drone strike was carried out by militia groups and adds they are being funded, armed, and trained by Iran. Biden spoke about that attack during a church service in South Carolina.
We had a tough day last night in the Middle East. We lost 3 brave souls in an attack on one of our bases.
Yes.
And I'd ask you for a moment of silence for all 3 of those fallen soldiers.
Jesus.
And we shall respond.
Since the Israel-Hamas war started in October, these smaller militant groups have targeted sites with American service members. They've struck them in Syria and Iraq more than 100 times. The U.S. military has been hitting back at Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen. It is after they began firing on American Navy ships and other commercial vessels.
And NBC reports the Biden re-election campaign may host a unique fundraiser this spring. It would feature the president and his 2 Democratic predecessors, Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. A date would likely be in March or April, but the campaign is still trying to coordinate the president's schedules. No one is talking on the record, though, about any of those plans.
More satellites heading into orbit. What was so unusual about this SpaceX launch overnight?
And the new boss at Austin ISD talks to KXAN about his staff and your students coming up.
Super Bowl matchup is set for Las Vegas, and we've seen this matchup before. I've got more on that coming up.
Valerie Tamburi joins us, an arborist with Tree Folks. So we just got over our mid-January deep freeze with our nighttime temperatures dropping into the teens for at least a couple of nights. What potential impact could this have on our area trees and plants?
Yeah, so luckily, I don't think that this freeze should have as big of an impact as the one last year or the year before, especially since we didn't have that heavy ice weighing down on the trees this year. So I think that as long as your trees are in pretty good health and you're still taking care of them after any damage that happened last year, they should be pretty good to go.
And are we going to continue to see improvements in the plants and trees that were damaged from our 2023 round of cold to continue to get better during the year this year?
Like, so if they bounce back with at least a 50% canopy and you cleaned up any broken limbs or dead limbs, you should know by now that they're recovering pretty well.
So you'd say that 2024 is going to be a continued year of recovery for the plants and trees that were damaged in early 2023?
Yeah, I actually think that a lot of the trees did seem to recover already. And I know that we're still in drought stages, so people need to continue to water even their mature trees, throughout the droughts, just to make sure that they stay healthy throughout this winter and the upcoming summer.
What are some signs that the trees and plants around your home are suffering from stress and distress, either from the weather, from the lack of rainfall, or from something else?
The biggest thing that homeowners would probably notice is the lack of leaves in the canopy, of course, during the leaf-on periods. So if you're not back to near 100% leaf out on your trees, you might be a little bit concerned, and it's probably time to call out an arborist.
Now, as we head through the eventual warm up into spring, for those trees that lost their leaves in the winter, when do they start coming back?
Well, they should. Some of them will start coming back in February, and then most should recover not recover, but most of the leaves should be back by March and April.
Valerie Tambury, an arborist with Tree Folks, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hey, listen to this. Could one of the great mysteries of the 20th century have been solved?
It was just a surreal moment. And then there was kind of this somber element to it, because obviously 2 people passed away here. The thought crossed my mind, like, we're the first ones in 86 years, 87 years to see Amelia Earhart's aircraft. So it was incredible.
Yeah, nearly 90 years after Amelia Earhart disappeared, the Today Show is talking to the man who may have found a pretty big clue, an image that resembles the size and shape of Earhart's aircraft resting at the bottom of the Pacific. The technology used in making that discovery, and what's next in the search for what happened to Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan, coming up on the Today Show. It was mind-blowing that somebody could maybe have solved this mystery.
He's speaking with a lot of confidence. I don't think this is quite settled yet. There's a blob, that showed up that appears to be a plane.
It just it makes you wonder how many secrets the oceans truly hold. You know, this is one of, I'm sure, a mind-boggling amount. Let me show you what's going on with your forecast today, because you know what? We've got some really nice weather to look forward to for most of the week. Clouds and radar not showing anything super exciting. We are going to stay dry with only a few high clouds in the mix today. Our Indeed domain camera nice and quiet as we begin our Monday. Currently sitting at 46 degrees. Winds are calm. Humidity currently sitting at 71%. As far as what we want to be watching for parents helping the kids get dressed this morning, maybe just a light jacket to start, but they'll be just fine in a t-shirt this afternoon. Highs getting into the 70s, mainly sunny skies up top. We're going to be looking at, in general, southwest winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overall, just a beautiful January day. As far as the skies go, again, just a little bit of high cloud cover with some moisture up top. This is going to be coming in at some of the mid to upper levels both today and tomorrow. So we call that kind of filtered sunshine. They're not going to be the big cumulus clouds, big cotton ball clouds just yet. I think a lot of this is just going to be sunshine and high clouds today and tomorrow. Then those clouds start to build up a little bit getting into the back end of the week. And eventually, as we transition into Friday, Saturday, you'll notice those rain chances go from nothing to something by the time we hit this weekend. We've got a heavy rain event likely to unfold here as we transition into the start of the weekend. So here is your first warning. We're trying to give you as much of a heads up here. Want to put this on your calendar. Friday night into Saturday, we got to make sure we are preparing for the possibility, and at this point just the likelihood of heavy rain. Big old storm system coming down from the Pacific, likely to impact all of Central Texas with some sort of rain opportunity here. Problem is some of that could come down a little too fast. Flash flooding is going to be a risk Friday night into Saturday, as is maybe the low potential for some strong to even severe storms. We're going to fine tune that once we get closer, but as you can see, 7-day rainfall here looks pretty good, anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to Maybe 2 inches of rain again falling Friday night into Saturday. So we've got some time to watch it. That's the good news. 7-day forecast shows 70s today with that filtered sunshine. We'll go with a mix of sun and clouds transitioning into midweek. And our afternoon highs are pretty much just going to hover right near 70 degrees between now and Thursday. 69 to 71 each afternoon. And then you see the changes here Friday night into Saturday. Right now, my gut tells me most of this will be Saturday morning, but likely to see at least the beginnings of this late Friday night. So make sure you're keeping an eye on that and factoring that into your plans if you've got something Saturday morning. But temperatures will take a little bit of a nosedive here, down to the lower 60s, so brings us close to 10 degrees cooler by the end of the weekend. Overnight lows 40s and 50s for the next 6 to 7 nights.
Thank you, Kristen. After more than a year without a permanent superintendent, Austin ISD finally has its leader. The board unanimously approving the contract for Matias Segura on Thursday.
His contract includes a salary of $362,000 a year, and it runs through August of 2028. And KXAN's Nabil Ramadna is sitting down with Segura to talk about his goals and why he believes he can carry the district to new heights.
Austin ISD has seen a lot of leadership changes over the past few years.
Yeah, I want to be here. I don't intend on going anywhere.
Newly voted Superintendent Matias Segura hopes to change that.
Being a student of AISD, living here my entire life, it's just an incredible opportunity, and I'm going to do everything I can to ensure that we're successful.
His mom was a teacher here, and his kids go to school in the district. That's why he says he wants to make positive changes for students, parents, and his staff.
As we talk about priorities for AISD, you'll hear me say climate and culture, staff retention. The single most important thing that will move student outcomes is the relationship with the educator in the classroom.
Segura inherited a number of issues when he took over. There was a major backlog for special education evaluations. Correcting this has been one of his top priorities.
Compliance is like one little piece of it, right? It's truly ensuring that we have an inclusive system that allows our students with additional needs to be serviced and supported at their local campus.
While he admits he never thought he'd be in this position, he says he's ready to take on all the challenges that come his way.
I believe in public education. And AISD is an incredible organization, and we're going to do incredible things.
Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
Thanks, Nabil. So Texas requires the superintendent to hold a state certification. The TEA commissioner may waive that requirement if requested by a school district. The district says Segura is currently completing a superintendent educator preparatory program. 6 superintendent certification waivers have been granted in Texas since last school year.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition, engines full power, and liftoff. Go Falcon and go Starlink.
Here you go. You're watching the first of 2 Falcon 9 Starlink launches. Listen to this. Both happened within hours of each other overnight in 2 different places. The first Falcon 9 lifted off just after 7 last night from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It is sending 23 more satellites into low Earth orbit. The second rocket, carrying 22 satellites, launched around midnight from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Good morning to you. Super Bowl 58 is set for Las Vegas in 2 weeks. Pretty exciting championship Sunday, and we'll start with the AFC Championship game. Ravens the favorites against the Chiefs in Baltimore. Things getting a little chippy early, and then the Chiefs just come out smoking. Travis Kelce caught a big 4th down pass on that opening drive, then caught the touchdown. And, yeah, Taylor Swift is there and happy. Kelce, 11 catches. Lamar Jackson doing his thing, evading the rush and then buying time and then finding Zay Flowers. So the Ravens tie it up still in the first quarter. Chiefs come right back. Isaiah Pacheco with the touchdown. Kansas City trying to go back-to-back in Super Bowls. And then with a 14-7 lead, defense making a play. It's the Longhorn legend Charles Omenihu with the strip right there. Chiefs don't score off that possession, but they keep the Ravens from having a chance. And then it's a 10-point lead at the half on a Harrison Butker field goal from 52. Second half, well, here come the Ravens down by 10, but Flowers dives into the end zone. Ball is jarred loose by L'Jarius Sneed right as he gets set to cross the goal line. Huge there to take those points away from the Ravens. That was the kind of day it was. And then Jackson picked off when they had a chance again to get it to a one-score game. They got the field goal, but that's it. And the Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl. And the Baltimore Ravens, the top seed. Tough way to end it. Will the Chiefs face Kyle Shanahan, Mike's son, Longhorn wide receiver, Dan Campbell, Texas A&M tight end. Early on, Lions looked like they might just get to their first ever Super Bowl. Jahmyr Gibbs slicing through that 49er defense. They were up 17 at the half, and then, well, here come the Niners. They get an early field goal in the third, and Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk gets an assist from Kendall Vilder. Went right off his helmet. Ayuk down at the 5, and then after a sack, a third down touchdown pass from Purdy to Ayuk, and it is a one-score game. Lions fumble. Niners tie it. Christian McCaffrey. All of a sudden, this thing is tied up. Jake Moody for San Francisco. They come all the way back to take a 3-point lead. Lions had some chances. They fail on a fourth down attempt in field goal range, and then the 49ers drive it. Elijah Mitchell punches it in, and that's it. San Francisco, quite a second half for the 49ers. So San Francisco and Kansas City, 49ers an early 2-point favorite for that game in Las Vegas. Moody Center tonight, Longhorns and Houston Cougars. Texas coming off that loss at BYU. Houston beating up on K-State on Saturday. Back to you.
For those listening on the KXAN Today podcast, thank you and welcome. Stick with us. Here's what else we're tracking for you in the 5 o'clock hour. A deeper look into the money behind the push to bring more billboards to a Central Texas city, how the campaign may be spreading.